Hey everyone, Christina here from Authentic Action Coaching. How is everybody? I hope you're all enjoying this year's Newcastle Startup Week, albeit virtually. Hopefully next year we can be back in person. So today I am going to be talking to you guys about activating your power and energizing your decision making. So within your business, whether that's to keep moving, keep going, or to pivot and to make a change. So let's get started. A special thanks to Paul for inviting me and for this opportunity to be here to share something that I'm very passionate about today. So let's get started. Okay, I want to kick off with a question. What is one thing you cannot do without in your life? What might that be? There's so many options, I guess, but what might that be for you? So in my mind, the answer is energy. We really can't do anything without energy. Everything actually is energy. We are energetic beings. Yes, we're human beings, but we are made up of trillions of tiny cells, all vibrating at different frequencies. Our heart, when we're, first formed in the womb as, very early start to our human life, our heart actually develops and grows before our brain does. And actually our heart is more powerful, in fact, 60 times more powerful, electromagnetic field speaking, than our brain. So the power that our heart has in terms of our energy, the energy that we submit is, so much more powerful than we really give it credit for. We, as energetic beings, need to understand that we are often at the effect of our surroundings, because the chair you're sitting on, the environment that you're sitting in is all energy. Everything is energy. And we are affected by energy, but actually we have so much more power than we really realize to harness that energy and to operate from a place of true inner power. So much like our devices, we need to make sure that we are recharging and recalibrating ourselves from the inside out to make sure that we can operate at an optimal level. Everything has a cause and effect. Energy is much like musical frequency, which I'll go on to talk about a little bit more, but it is the contrast of energy that actually has hidden depths of power and potential. And that's what I want to focus on today, very much in terms of decision making. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name's Christina Lord, and I am super passionate about helping people master their energy and connect to this inner power. This is something that is central to the work I do as a certified professional coach and a core dynamics specialist. I'm also a master practitioner in something called the Energy Leadership Index, which I'll be talking a little bit more about at the end of this presentation. But I set up Authentic Action Coaching, just over 2 years ago now. My background before that was in marketing, advertising, FMCG, project management, client service, a lot of years working in a very fast-paced environment. Over the last few years, I found myself not feeling as fulfilled and as satisfied. And I noticed that actually the one thing that I cared so deeply about was connecting with people and to really make a difference. And so I actually retrained and set up my business very much to realize my other passion, which is travel. And actually I'm beaming from Naples as I record this in Italy on a workation, because, coaching helps me actually be location independent. So I can work from anywhere. So I get to travel, to explore, to do things that I really love whilst working with my clients and, really making a difference in people's lives. And I feel so very blessed to be in this situation. So today I'm going to share with you my passion for energy, my passion for helping you tap into your inner power, especially when it comes to decision making. So this presentation is all going to be about introducing the concept of energetic leadership to you. I'm going to talk about why how we make decisions dramatically affects our energy and the success of our outcomes. I'm also going to be really honing in on how you specifically can tap into this unlimited potential with a powerful decision-making tool. So those are the three areas. So I want to start by talking about the two different types of energy. So we can categorize these two types into uplifting energy, which I call anabolic energy, which is about creativity. So when I talk about creativity, I'm not talking about painting and writing music. I'm talking about coming up with an idea and bringing it into being. So to take it from something that does not yet exist to something that exists, that takes energy to create something, to have something exist in the world. And so that is very much uplifted, creative energy. Think of high vibing frequency. And when we experience this, we have feelings of hope, of optimism, a positive expectation, enthusiasm, passion, joy, a sense of empowerment, of freedom, of love and appreciation. So when we are feeling those as energetic beings, this is our emotional guidance scale. Did you know you have this powerful emotional guidance scale within you? Energy doesn't lie. So when we feel those elements of expansive energy, this is telling us something. This is telling us what we enjoy, what lights us up as individuals. So the opposite of that is downward spiraling energy, which is draining energy, which we term catabolic energy. And we experience this when we're feeling bored, pessimistic maybe. Maybe we're disappointed that something hasn't gone our way. Maybe we are blaming something or someone for things not working out as we wanted. Maybe we're getting angry. Maybe we're seeking revenge. Maybe we are, really in a state of comparison, jealousy, fear, grief, depression. It's that insecurity. It's that very heavy, dense, low vibrating energy that we all experience as human beings. And it's these two scales that I want to encourage you to think about as I go through my talk today, because we all have this inner emotional guidance scale that we can actually utilize and bring a greater sense of awareness to help us make decisions. Yeah. So as my two gifts are showing, these are very much how we experience these two types of energy. And by the way, there is no good or bad energy. There is energy that is, advances us and is an advantage. And there is energy that maybe isn't an advantage to us. But we're not seeking draining as being very pessimistic and uplifting being always where we want to live. We are built for turbulence as human beings. And it is very important to know that we can consciously shift our emotional experience into different levels. But essentially, we're here to experience the very, very highs and the very lows. We're not seeking to live in this muted state. So let's continue. So this is really science. This is quantum physics as much as it's biology. So there's an energetic exchange that's happening, and it creates and influences the way we think, the way we feel, and then the actions that we take. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. And I love this GIF, and I wanted to include it because this talks about the chemical reaction that's going on in our bodies. So you may be aware of these three types of chemical reaction that happens in our bodies. Dopamine is very much our pleasure reward system hormone. It's located in the base of our spine, base of our skull. It's in our brain, and it's very much around when we do something that we're seeking that satisfaction. Our phones are great examples of this. The dings we get when we receive a message, the likes we get from our posts, etc. That's feeding our dopamine hit. So that's very much being found in the brain. Serotonin is a chemical that is found in the gut, and it regulates mood, our appetite, our body temperature. It very much, is there to regulate our mood, as I say, the way that we're showing up in the world. And it's funny that it's located in the gut, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about as we go through. Oxytocin is the love hormone. So this is the hormone when we are socially bonding, so between a mother and a child, or socially within relationships. So as some of these emotions show, we can see these levels go up and down. And when we experience love, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin are all very high. So with this knowledge, we are in a pleasure state. We are maybe feeling very satisfied. So our serotonin level, maybe that feeling when you've just had food and you're feeling very content and happy. And then oxytocin, maybe you're having food with people that you really, really love and adore. So this means that you are feeling a state of appreciation and love. And that is an expansive feeling, remember, through our uplifting energy levels. Okay. Now I want to shift perspective, pun intended, to ask, how's your view? Because often we think that there's one collective reality, there's one way of seeing the world, but actually that's not true. We don't see the world how things are. We see the world how we are. In the sense that, imagine that we each have our own filter through which we see ourselves and the world around us. And Dr. Wayne Dyer basically talked about, if you change the way you look at things, then the things you're looking at, they change. And I think this is very appropriate and relevant when we're talking about decision making. How are you seeing your situation? How are you seeing your choices? How many choices are you seeing? What are your options? Where is your inner guidance emotional scale? What's happening within you that's influencing the way you're thinking about your challenge, the way you're feeling about your challenge, and then the actions you're going to take? So this is all intermixed, and this is all back to our inner power. So this brings me neatly onto the concept of energy leadership. Now, energetic leadership is all about how we lead ourselves, first and foremost, energetically. So that's from the inside out. So often when we talk about stress, we can feel that the world is against us, that we are at the mercy of things that are happening outside of ourselves. Energy leadership talks about, actually, rather than reacting from the outside in, feeling powerless to change things, that actually we flip the script and we become a lot more aware, have a lot more self-awareness around who we are, how we operate. So we are actually becoming more aware of the way that we filter our world, the view that we have. And so that brings us a great opportunity to really respond rather than react. So this filter that we look through, this is made up of our conditioning. And I like to think of conditioning as almost a computer program that runs beneath our conscious mind. So we're not aware of it running our lives. And it's created by our experiences from, the family we were born into, the experience we had from birth and upward. So what we value, how we interpret situations, our experiences, these all feed our subconscious mind. And, interestingly, a huge 95% of our behavior is driven from our subconscious mind. So that's underneath our conscious. We're not really fully aware of why we're doing what we're doing, because it maybe was from some behavior that was formed very early on in our lives before we could really make sense of it and process what was going on. So this concept around energetic leadership is really that we have the power to either limit how we show up in the world, or expand what we see, how we feel, and what we go on to do. And it hugely impacts our behavior, our actions, and ultimately our success and our overall well-being. So this is the core concept through which I coach. It's I often joke that I perform energetic surgery, because it's lifting the lid and it's going a little bit deeper and working with your subconscious to help you move forward and to remove maybe some of those subconscious blocks that are getting in your way or preventing you from expanding to your fullest potential. Okay, so I want to drill down a little bit further into this concept. On the left-hand side, at the top of the screen, you will find this arc. And I want to draw your attention specifically to this funnel as V-shape. And I want you to think of fear being at the very bottom of this funnel and fearlessness being at the very top. And we have frequency of energy that runs up through the middle. So our thoughts create how we feel, create the actions we take. Yeah, chain reaction. And we ricochet up and down these energy levels all day long, impacted by our relationships, the world around us, and our own energy levels. Be that how rested we are, how fueled we are, nutritionally speaking, etc. So I want to specifically focus on the first three levels. So this is what we're terming this draining energy, this catabolic energy that we sometimes experience. And so we call level one, or filter one, the victim energy. And this is when we're not maybe conscious of how we're reacting to a situation. And so when you're feeling at the effect of life, then you can feel you can feel a victim of your circumstance. And so you might believe, well, I'm powerless to make a decision, so I lose, is the analogy we're using here for this victim energy. Level two is going up through the frequency, so it's higher frequency, more powerful, and it's one of a conflict lens. So here we talk about, well, I win, you lose. And this is where jealousy, anger, revenge, hatred, this is where these emotions live. Because when we're feeling in this state, our thought can be one of blame, one of it's somebody else's fault. I have to place blame and judgment on somebody. And somebody has to lose in order for me to win. This can be a very powerful energy, and used in the right way can benefit you hugely. But if you're unconscious to it, it can damage relationships and certainly damage how you show up in the world. Level three, as we go up, so we're going more up through the filter into a greater sense of expansive feeling. We call this the rationalizer energy. And when we experience this level of energy, that we see our situation through a rationalizing lens, you want to win, but it's great if you do too. So you're a little bit more, less judgmental and more able to move forward. So we see this in people that are, have very strong coping mechanisms. But actually, as the image that I've used suggests, we can be seen as being maybe a little bit manipulative, or we can change ourselves. We can wear a mask to, become almost a chameleon to suit others. So this is where we may get stuck in stagnancy. Why change? Why pivot when I can stay in this safe zone? So this is, again, the mix and interplay of these energies can actually limit your power as opposed to expand it. So the opposite of this, going up through the rest of this funnel, is the level 4 energy. And level 4 energy is all around other people. It's not about you, it's about the other person. So this is a very nurturing, caring lens through which you're seeing your situation. It's all about, well, you win. I want you to win. Very compassionate, very empathetic. It's all about service and caring and being there. So yeah, it's very outward looking. So you're not really taking anything personally. It's very outward looking. Level 5 is all about opportunity. So as the image suggests there's a bunny rabbit surrounded by carrots. That carrot might, show up as ideas, as opportunities to grow. Often we see this as a huge entrepreneurial common factor. that actually people who have this energy, this growth energy, see opportunity and then take action on it. So this is all about a win-win. It's creating synergistic opportunity, that seeing that nobody has to lose, that I want to benefit myself, but I also want to benefit others. Yeah. Level 6, as we go up through, is the visionary. So this is where everyone always wins. This is a belief that everyone should win or we don't play. This is very much looking at very much a higher vibration level of energy, where we can tap into our intuition. We can also experience flow state. So flow state, I'm sure you're all very aware, is when you are doing something that you are in complete alignment with, and you are almost collapsing time, or time feels like it stands still because you are just in the moment, creating something that you are very, very passionate about. And so at this level of energy, it's very much about appreciation, non-judgment, and really just seeing that everything is benefit. Like, there's no challenges. Everything is useful. Everything is information. So it's a very, very powerful lens to look through. Now, I will just underline the fact that, yes, wouldn't it be lovely to stay in this anabolic range of energy? Yes, it would. However, their lower levels of energy are also just as powerful and just as beneficial, being used in the right way. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. So I want to share with you this powerful decision-making tool. The TriPower Decision-making tool helps you activate your energy and expand your potential and power when facing a challenge or a decision. So I want to talk about the typical way of making a decision. So generally speaking, we are very head focused. Making a decision, for a lot of us, we think with our logic mind. Our frontal lobe is all about pros and cons. It's about feeding into what sounds right to us. We're trying to understand and to use our logic to increase our knowledge to make a decision. So often, and I know this for me to be true, I would primarily make decisions from this place, and perhaps not from other places that I'll go on to talk about. So head-centered thinking is all about logic. You may live in pros and cons list to help you make a decision. Things have to make sense to us. This is very important. So I have to understand something to then make a decision. And ultimately, when we are making a decision from this place, subconsciously, we're driven by this need for certainty, because as human beings, we are wired to survive. Often we talk about fight or flight, and it's a very primitive part of our brain at the top of our spinal cord, our amygdala in our brain, that very much seeks to kind of be safe. And when we have a subconscious belief that if we know something's coming and we have some element of certainty, then we have safety, which is in fact an illusion, but it's how we're wired and how we process this decision making. So that's I would say the central part of what we're all taught is a key part of decision making and critical thinking. Okay. This type of decision making. Now, we don't often think of heart-centered decision making. And like I mentioned at the top of this presentation, the heart is so much more powerful than we know it to be. It's actually 60 times more powerful when you think of the electromagnetic field that the heart generates, more so than the brain. It is extremely powerful. And so this is our emotional center. We are energetic beings and we are built to feel. And often, and this has certainly been my experience when I've worked in corporate, that softer skills were seen as weakness, and were seen as, maybe not as rightfully placed in a business environment. I've gone on to challenge that in many, many ways, because we are truly powerful when we can tap into our feelings, as the emotional guidance scale that I talked about suggests. So when we make a decision from a heart-centered place, things have to feel right. So that's a feeling in the body. So we're kind of taking the focus away from making sense, and we're tapping into this feeling. And ultimately, we're seeking to feel good, for a decision to have us feel good about our decision. Yeah, so the heart-centered is really tapping into this energy in motion and sensing how our body feels, because energy does not lie. It is there as a signaling system, and it can really help you make more rounded and deeper decisions. So let's go to the third type. So this is gut-centered decision making. So it's all about knowing and sensing. This is instinctual. We are energetic beings, so we are instinctual, because when we tap into higher frequencies in the body, we can access greater levels of uplifting energy, and we can cultivate it from within. We don't actually need outside sources to create that. We have the power to create that from within us. So here, when we're instinctual, we tap into this intuitive knowing, this inner knowing, because we're seeking this deep part of us. Maybe it makes no sense. Maybe this decision logically makes sense. Often when you use your heart and your gut and really tune into both, then maybe something might sound logically correct, but actually when we tune into the feeling and the knowing, then something might come up for us that, ooh, it feels off, but I maybe can't articulate what that is. So this inner sense, this deep part of us, this primitive part of us, it's our life force energy that is actually signaling to us, giving us information. And if we allow it, and this is certainly something that I do with my clients, is to strengthen that connection with your gut. And I know, this is another key element that gets talked about with entrepreneurs, right? It's go with your gut instinct. But how do we do that, right? So this is often what I talk about with my clients, of different ways you can actually tune in and strengthen that connection with this inner knowing part of you. And there's so many different modalities to do that I don't have time to discuss today. But if you're interested to learn more, then do let me know. So on with the tool, Power Up. The TriPower decision-making tool is to combine the power of the logic, so head-centered decision-making, with the power of the heart, the emotion, with the power of that gut feel. So being able to tap into and move your focus around each of these centers, these intelligence centers, actually helps you unearth actually, what is the information that's been presented to me? How does it logically make sense to me? You might start with a pros and cons list on a decision making. You might feel into what makes sense. You might look at data to inform you, all very analytical. And then you might move into your heart and check in with how you feel. Put your hand on your heart, meditate, breathe, spend some time with yourself, and really tune your attention inward and really sense how you're feeling. And then with the gut, similarly, I find that my intuition whispers to me. And so I need to spend an amount of time actually being still and quiet for this to really, land and for me to tune in. So just back to, I wanted to show you a bigger graphic on this self-perception chart, because really we have the power with awareness to bring ourselves into a different state of being. So our feeling is a state of being, but how we think influences our state of being. So becoming more aware that you are not your thoughts, they are a part of you, but they are not you, helps you then harness this strength of awareness, so you can shift your emotion, shift it or stick with it and go within it to release it. Again, this is much around the work that I do. It's not always about escaping and transcending up. Sometimes it's about ascension and going down deep within to actually come out the other side stronger, which actually does have longer lasting, more transformational outcomes. So essentially what we're doing is seeing that your thinking creates this feeling and then massively impacts on the results and the actions that you take. And so using this tool and the awareness around your inner guidance scale emotionally, you can actually tap into much more power that you hold within yourself. So I wanted to put this to the test. So I'd love you to play along. This is a scenario that I've come up with. So I want you to think about if a lucrative opportunity comes your way in your business, but it's against your values and why you started your business. Yeah. So any Simon Sinek fans out there, he talks about starting with your why, starting with why you had the idea in the first place. And that often is your, inner fuel that grounds you into why you're basically propelled and compelled to do things. So keep that in mind. This lucrative opportunity comes your way. So it sounds tempting, but wait there, it's against my values and it's maybe against some of why I started my business. So using the TriPower decision-making tool, you can tap into these three centers. So rather than just focusing on the logic, you can go up into the mind and ask yourself, okay, it might make sense to take this opportunity. It's a great opportunity. But actually, let me write down some pros and cons of if I was to take this opportunity, what might the advantages be? But actually, if I don't take this opportunity, what might happen? So maybe you do, a kind of pro and cons list to really help on paper you get your thoughts clear. Maybe you look at data. Maybe the opportunity is with another company, or maybe you're looking at trend analysis, what's happening in the marketplace, where does it make sense, and what is the data telling you with what you know already. And again, beware that it might give you a sense of certainty. If this lucrative opportunity actually has the opportunity to help you grow your business and to make more money, well, that's great, but is it at cost of what you truly value and why you started your business? Are you being fully authentic to your business and to yourself? Then you might move into your heart center. You might get still. You might change up your environment. You might get into a space where there's less distraction and really turn your attention inward and ask yourself, how does each option make me feel? Do I feel light and full of excitement, or do I feel heavy? Do I feel expanded at the opportunity, at the possibility of where it might take me and where it's going to take the business? Or do I feel constricted, that maybe some part of this means that I have to sacrifice something that I care very deeply about? So all of these, again, this inner guidance scale of excitement or worried. And the more that you quieten your external environment and actually just sit with this, then your body will tell you, your heart will tell you, you will begin to tune into, and if you practice this, it gets even stronger. So finally, your gut, you may then tap into and ask yourself, okay, what do I know is true for me? What do I know is true for me when I look at this opportunity? What's my intuition telling me? What is this whisper, this inner knowing telling me? What do I sense? If I just sit and just allow feelings to come up and create space between my decision and my thinking, what comes up? And do I feel grounded? Do I feel at peace with making this decision, or do I feel nervous? So again, you can really tap into this inner knowing. So in summary, everything is energy. You are made up of energetic frequency. Your thoughts create your emotions, how you feel, energy in motion, remember, and they then influence hugely the actions that you take. You are always at choice, and you always have power to shift your energy and uplift yourself. And using the TriPower decision-making tool expands your ability to make fully conscious decisions. And by fully conscious, remember, we are bringing the unconscious conscious. We are able to then, if we do have fears, if we do have things that feel heavy, let's shine a light on those to begin to process what is going on for us. And finally, the key to this power is through awareness. Yeah, so observing what's going on in our thinking. So not feeling that the effect of every thought we're having or every feeling we're having, and allowing ourselves to get carried away with stress and anxiety, but actually more so to bring awareness, observing what's happening within you and being curious. Caring curiosity is very much something that I personally practice, and I help my clients practice as well. Because with caring, curiosity, we can create more space and actually start to make for more fully formed decisions. With acceptance, it's actually to say, okay, this is happening. I acknowledge that this is happening for me and this is how I'm feeling. And it's completely natural that maybe I'm feeling a little bit stressed because I'm not sure which is the right decision for me. Completely natural. So you acknowledge and you validate for yourself, okay, so what, now what? And that leads us on to the conscious choice, the power of conscious choice, that actually when you tap into these three inner intelligence centers that we have, our head, our heart, our gut, that actually we can arrive at a place of more expansive, more powerful decision making that is more authentic to you. The last of the four, so these are actually the first 4 disciplines of 10 disciplines of the Core Dynamics series that I also coach upon. So awareness, acceptance, conscious choice, and then the 4th one is trust the process. I will also share this PDF because it's a useful overview to be able to kind of see what the steps are. And this is something, like I say, that I practice and I encourage my clients to practice as well. So I wanted to mention a little bit more before I leave you all, with a little more information. If you are interested in learning more about energy leadership, then you can actually get your very own personalized energy assessment. So you can identify your true stress triggers. You can learn how to shift your energy easily and tap into powerful, effortless flow. Because as the charts suggest, you get your own personalized 30-page report that is personal to you. It looks at your energetic profile, which is where you show up, how you show up when things are okay for you in your life. What's the split of energy where we naturally see. So it's an insight tool, a snapshot of where you are today. But we also look at your energetic stress reaction. So when stress comes into your life, what happens to your energy? Where is that drain happening from more expansive potential energy to actually drowning you, draining you, plummeting your energy back into this maybe victim energy, which is something that I see a lot of. Something that actually this report does with awareness brings and shines a light on what is happening subconsciously for you, and then how we can actually bring more into the conscious realm so you can actually start to shift your energy and do something about it. So outside of that, I also do a lot of one-to-one coaching sessions, and I help people essentially create their own personalized energetic success formula, using often the insights from the ELI, the Energy Leadership Index, because we work on maximizing the energetic drivers, and that could be different for everybody. This is not a cookie cutter, one size fits all assessment. This is highly personalized, very powerfully insightful, and allows you to really start to grow your self-awareness, to shift your energy, to essentially boost your uplifters, minimize your energetic drainers, and all in all, master your energy to reduce stress, all that unnecessary stress and drama, reduce that, increase effortless flow. So get into more the level 6 way of being when you're in your business potentially, to increase your resilience. So you're going to reduce burnout, reduce feeling like you're bashing your head against a brick wall, and actually cultivate productivity and overall well-being, because being an entrepreneur should be fun, and it shouldn't be draining, and it certainly shouldn't mean that you burn yourself out. If you want to have a bit of a play, there is a free app, and it's called the Scope app, SCOPE, and you can get it from the Apple App Store, Google Play, free to download. It asks you a series of questions. If you are heading into a task, or maybe you're thinking about a decision, then you can answer those questions, and it gives you these results you see on screen. So it measures your level of energy, and it actually shares with you potential strategies and ideas of where you may increase your energy. So it looks at your different influences, be that mental, emotional, physical, social, or environmental. So that information is there. And finally, to pivot, to keep going, or to pivot, well, it really is up to you. Remember, you always have a choice in how to respond to any situation and to any challenge you're facing. You have that power to shift your energy and tap into this inner knowing, this TriPower decision-making tool that I've shared with you, because the power is within you. It's not out there. It's within you. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found that helpful. I wanted to leave you with a little bit more information about me. If you wanted to check out my podcast, I'd love you to do so. As I say, the Energy Leadership Assessment, I am actually doing a special discount for Newcastle Startup Week. So if you did want to get a deduction off the assessment price, then you can do so by quoting Newcastle Startup Week, and I will apply that discount. So one-to-one coaching packages, if you want to know more about those. I also do some group coaching and workshops. And you can, of course, get in touch with me on Facebook, Instagram, check out my YouTube channel, or on LinkedIn. So with that, I am wishing you all an energized week, and I'd love to know your thoughts, your comments, what came up for you, any questions. I'd love to hear from you. I don't know whether you can tell, but I love talking about this stuff, and I absolutely am very, very passionate about helping people realize their potential energy and to maintain it and to maximize it, because what else are we here for on this planet, right? And I know especially now in testing times of 2020, we need more than ever these tools and strategies to be able to cultivate this energy from within to, you know, go on and create more in our businesses, in our lives, for each other. So thanks again. Have an energetic weekend, and I will, I'll hopefully hear from you soon. Thanks. Bye.